as you can see, the technique that I've deployed kind of works. It kind of works, which is cool. On today's video, we're going to be removing rain and snow from several plates. The techniques on this tutorial can be used on any compositing application, but we will be using Foundry's Nuke. Hello everyone, my name is Hugo and this is Hugo's Desk. The video is going to be based on a question I got from a Patreon. I have a question here from Kim. Sometimes I see unique tricks in Nuke, like using an invert or a time echo to remove snow from a plate. Do you have more tricks like this? Well, this is a great question. Actually, yeah, I do. I actually have the perfect shot. So I've done a shot a few years ago. Actually, a long time ago. This was like 4 years ago. So this is a shot from a short film that I supervised called Leonard in slow motion, directed by Peter Lavolzi. And on this particular shot, which was the funny thing about this, is that we shot it in LA, and we were there for 3 days shooting it in LA. And as you know, LA is always very sunny, always very pretty, everything is always cool. But as it turns out, the exact day we were going to shoot outside, the only day we were going to shoot outdoors, actually rained in LA. It was the first time it rained in LA for like 5 months. And it had to be exactly on the day that we shot, of course, because it had to, right? It always has to. We started shooting, we couldn't really delay it anymore, and we started filming, and unfortunately, it started pouring. Not a lot of rain, but enough rain for you to see it. Obviously, at that exact moment, the director turned to this VFX supervisor, which was me, and he basically asked, Hugo, are you going to be able to remove these rains? And I just said, I think so. And that was it. Like, we shot about, I think it was 5 shots. And then I went back, and we had a lot of choices. We could either paint them out, we could either try to do some kind of time echo or frame blending, or we could also try some temporal medium to see if it would work. So let's go back into Nuke and have a look. This was the comp, actually. This was what we delivered. This is actually the final shot we delivered for the short film. Obviously, it doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look bad either. And this was done. Obviously, I'm not going to focus my attention on comping this shot today, but this was done by a combination of having a clean plate, combination of having the actual plate with Martin Starr being filmed in it. By the way, if you have never seen Silicon Valley, you should really check it out. Silicon Valley is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. From the same creator of Idiocracy and also Office Space as well. We also have a phantom high-speed velocity of the same balloon as well. And the whole point was that we had to comp the balloon into the plate. But we thought this was going to be enough, but then it turns out it wasn't enough. It actually was quite slow. And so we ended up having to remove this balloon completely and put the new balloon in. But this is not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is the fact that it's raining. So let me just show you. As you can see on the top here, let's ignore the, well, actually, I'm going to show you the clean plates because it's probably easier for you to see. And there you go. As you can see, there is rain. It's in slow motion, of course, because the shot was shot in slow motion. The problem with this is that for you to remove something like this, you probably, obviously in this specific situation, when Kim asked me the question, I was kind of like, oh, I probably have a shot like that. And I did. I actually have a shot with rain, which was just perfect for Kim's question. Speaking of Patreons, don't forget that just like Kim did, you can always sign up to my Patreon and ask me directly a question. You never know, maybe your question can even become a video on Hugo's Desk. Your support is super appreciated. I could not make the channel without my Patreons. So thank you so much. You are the reason why I can continue to have the channel open and continue to make free videos on YouTube. But as you can see here from this, there's a couple of things we could do. We could try to blur it. We could try to use time blur. We could try to use a medium. We could also try to clean and paint one by one. Now, one thing you could try is to try a time echo. Why would you try a time echo? Well, the time echo has the facility of you actually merging different frames and could be useful for us to remove this rain. So obviously by default, the time echo only merges one frame in one. I'm going to put 10 here just to show you the difference. We can actually see the rain droplets making a streak through the image, which is not going to be very good for what we're trying to achieve here. Obviously, it's also maxed out, which if I, for example, put a plus, you can see that it basically pluses all the images together. It's obviously easier if I show you this with a moving person. You can kind of see that what happens with him is that it echoes, just like the name says, it echoes the frame. So if I put, for example, plus, you can see that it pluses all of them together. If I put max, it maxes them all together, and then you get like this kind of streaking sensation. If I, for example, put 50. Now, the one I'm after is the average. Why? Because the average has the ability of merging all the frames without overexposing the image. And as you can see in here, you basically get this common effect of a ghost, you know. So if you were trying to make a ghostly image, the time echo would be your way. Obviously, I think I went a bit too far. I went with 50. Let's just do 10 frames. And you can probably see time echo is also quite useful to pretend to fake motion blur. That could also do the trick. Obviously, you do have some issues with it. The raindrops have really disappeared with the time echo. It relatively left our balloons untouched, but obviously if you have something moving faster, then you can have a problem, which does mean that you would have to rotoscope him and put him on top, you know. That could work, but then you're gonna have other problems. Like this, for example. If he moves too fast, you're going to have a frame blending. And the frame blending, unfortunately, is going to mean that you won't be able to comp him on top easily. Now, let's talk about another thing that we could use. Try this one here. So instead of using a time echo, I'm going to use a temporal medium. And you're probably asking, what is a temporal medium? Well, I'm glad you asked that. Well, according to Ron here, in Ron we trust, let's see. Certain spatial filters do not use a specific weighted matrix to determine the way pixels are averaged together. Instead, they use other rules to determine their result. One such filter is the medium filter. Quite simply, it ranks all the pixels in the kernel in terms of brightness and then changes the value of the pixel in question to be the same as the medium or center value of this ranking. The net result is that the medium filter does an excellent job of removing single pixel noise artifacts, while causing only a slight reduction in sharpness of the image. So the temporal medium doesn't have many options. As you can see here, we only literally have a core option, and we can choose what channel to affect. So as you can see, the temporal medium, again, worked kind of like the time blur. The difference being that it made it a bit sharper. So you see all this pouring of rain and all this kind of like particles of dust flying through the air. They're all gone, but I still have the balloon moving and I still have most of the detail of my image. So you see, this is actually the entire difference between them. And as you can see, what I've removed from the plate is a lot of grain, a lot of noise, and some actual raindrops flying through, and of course the explosion of water, which is the biggest difference, and the hand. That's actually kind of what the temporal medium really removed from the image. So using a minus merge is always a great way for you to see the differences, as opposed to the time echo. If I do the same thing with the time echo, I'm going to show you what that does. So yeah, as you can see, the difference between the time echo and the difference between the temporal medium is huge. You see, the temporal medium keeps most of the detail, and the time echo just creates an enormous difference between the two plates. But you're probably thinking to yourself, but Hugo, why are you even wasting time with this? We could have just used the background as a still. Literally, you could have rotoscoped him, rotoscoped the balloons, and put it on top of the background as a still, as a frame hold. Yeah, you could do that, but remember that there is some rain going on in front of him as well. So if you look closely here, you can actually see that there's rain droplets going in front of his face. And some of them actually go in the back here. They also go in the front of his arms as well. There's quite a few of them, and of course we could have painted them, but the temporal medium just removes them, even the ones that go in front. But if we actually did this, how would we go around and actually creating this comp from scratch? Well, I've already kind of done some of it here. So as you can see, first of all, we would have to get rid of some of the noise. So I'm using the Neat Video version 5 to reduce the noise. Once the temporal medium is done, obviously now we have this problem. You can kind of see that the hands are now broken because of the temporal medium. So this means that we need to comp the hand back on top without having these artifacts. And these are basically happening both on the hand here, and especially when he moves a lot. And you can see it on this hand as well. You have like a doubling of the fingers and everything. So we would have to rotoscope everything. And that's unfortunately the only way. I am sorry. I got a bit carried away. Started rotating, started comping, started doing everything. We are not really supposed to do this shot today. Like, that's not the point. The point today is to talk about the rain. But as you can see, you know, since I've done it, I might as well show it to you. As you can see, this is kind of like a pre-comp version of putting the balloon there as well. I've also got rid of some of the bubbles of water on this front there, and I've started rotating the hand so it wouldn't have any issues with the temporal medium. But of course it's not perfect, but I'm gonna just show you really quick here. We kind of started by denoising the plate, then we kind of like went down here and did the actual roto for the hand. Didn't finish the roto, of course, but as you can see, I have like a roto for the body and for the other arm, and then I have a roto for the actual arm. Never forget when you're doing rotoscoping to always split every little single piece of your shape. It's a lot easier, as you saw on the time lapse. It's a lot easier to control that way. And then we basically did some cleanup here on the background. We also used temporal medium, a frame hold, to basically get this section on the bottom so we can get rid of the balloon falling. We also got like a time-off, a frame hold of the top so we could get rid of all the water droplets. And that's really it. Like, we've made basically the first temporal medium remove the rain. Then we placed the bottom here to get that back. Then we placed the top so we could get rid of all these water droplets. And then we put just the arm on top of everything so we could fix... Basically, the objective here would be to fix all the temporal medium problems. And then, of course, the balloon. The balloon was very simple. We had like a denoise, we did a luma key, we did a pre-mold, then we did some match move, tracking it to the other balloon, a little bit of a defocus, and then copying it on top. But like I said, I'm getting carried away. This is not why we're doing this video. We're doing this video so we can remove rain and also try to remove some snow. So let's move to the snow now. If you have any questions or comments, or if you maybe have a better technique, just don't forget to leave a comment below. I would love to know what your experience is with this kind of stuff. You're probably thinking to yourself, but Hugo, does this work on every shot with rain and on every shot with snow? Absolutely not, it doesn't. In a way, this works on that shot because I think it was a mixture between luck and just the perfect technique for that shot. So I brought a couple of shots here. All these shots, by the way, are not production shots. So these are shots just downloaded from the internet. For those of you that don't know, there is this amazing website called Pixels, I think it's how you pronounce it. And this website is completely free, so you can get photos, you can get videos, you can get a bunch of footage here. Obviously, the downside, although it is stock footage that you can use on your showreel, you can use on anything you like, the only downside is that the quality is not that good. I mean, this shot, for example, is quite good, but if you really start looking closely, you can kind of see there's a lot of compression, especially if you go through between the shots. These are all H.264 clips, and in fact, if I, for example, show you this shot here, and if, for example, I like this shot here, which looks fine when you look at it, And if you play it back, you see it looks quite good. But as soon as you start zooming in into the to the actual background, you can kind of see that the H.264 compression is actually horrible. I brought these shots because these might be the type of shots you might have to deal with in a daily basis. And this shot, for example, is very typical. You have a shot with some snow. You also have some reflections. You have some cars passing through the windows here. In essence, you could probably think to yourself, well, this shot is probably easy to fix. Like, you could probably just do a freeze frame and then you can just paint out the snow. And it's true, you could do that, but it would take some time to do that because of the sheer amount of snow dropping by. I'm going to try the temporal medium. So the temporal medium, I am going to set it up into RGB only because there's nothing else for it to do. And I'm going to max out the temporal medium. As soon as I do that, you kind of get rid of some of the snow, most of it really. You can kind of see that we've removed about half of the snow, but this is still not going to work out. As you can see, we can still see some snow. I can put another temporal medium and maybe even another one to see if I can get a better version. As you can see, the first one removed most of the snow. The second one removed a little bit more snow. The third one already didn't do anything. And by the time you get to the fourth one, you're basically not doing anything. So I think 2 of them would be enough. Now, it will probably break your reflections. Now we've seen that kind of worked kind of for this shot, but you still have some snow. I'm now going to kind of pick up time echo. Sorry, not time blur. If I go to time echo, I'm going to put an average 10 frames should be enough. Just going to see if that works. Still not enough. I still see them. So I'm going to probably pick up 20 frames to see if I can get rid of some of them. Obviously, be aware that this is going to become really slow. You can still see that most of the snow is now disappeared. So the idea here would be to get a soft spot, like a sweet spot of where you should be. It's going to start becoming really slow. I'm going to try with 40 to see if I lost anything. I'm going to try with 30. Obviously, you want to find a way to get rid of the snow, but also not destroy your performance. And I think now we did it. It actually works. Now, don't forget that this shot doesn't have any grain. The reason it doesn't have any grain is because it literally only has compression. So obviously the time echo is removing all of that. It removes all the compression as well, which could be a good thing. I mean, it could be a great way to remove compression, as you can see here on the corners. We are losing a little bit of sharpness. Just a little bit, and for that I'm going to just open up a log to lin and convert the image to lin to log, put a sharpen. Now, if you don't know what I'm doing here, maybe consider subscribing to my channel because I am going to make a video exactly about this very soon. We've discussed it a few times on the streams on Twitch, but please stick around on my channel and subscribe and hit the little bell so that you can get notifications when I do new videos. Now that I've done the log to lin by converting the image to a log and then converting it back, the sharpen is not going to destroy the image so much as it would if I wouldn't have done that. So now I'm going to just check. This is a bit too much, especially because I want to look at the original and look at the new one. It could be good that I'm sharpening it anyway, but I'm going to put just the 1 on sharpen. Next up is the reflections, because obviously now with the time echo, the reflections are completely broken. So if I now press this, you don't even see the reflections anymore because obviously the time echo has merged them all. So if we go to a car here, if I just go to one of these cars passing through, see if I look at the time echo, they are now a blur because they're all gone. So for you to fix this, we would have to recover the reflections. And I'm going to do a roto because I'm going to get a merge node. I know I'm not even showing you the background, but I already know what I'm doing. So basically comping blindly. That's usually the case. So let's see here. So I'm going to find out really where are my cars. If I just play this back, it's roughly on this area here that they happen. So it's always here. There's nothing else. Everything else is kind of covered through there. So the only movement really is here. So I'm going to get a mask here. Okay, cool. So now I have this. Of course, obviously, you would have to do the same on this side. Oh, no, actually. No, you don't. I forgot. There's nothing in there. Never mind. So we only need this area. So obviously now if I merge this on top, I need to pre-molt it, of course. I'm going to pre-molt the node here. Pre-molt the node. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, there's already an alpha channel. Whenever that happens, you need to go to the rotoscope and basically open up this little tiny... I don't know if you see it, but there's like this little tiny arrow there, which no one ever sees. So if you click there, it will open up some extra options for you. So on those options, I'm going to say that I want to output the mask alpha. And that means I'm replacing all the incoming alpha with the new alpha. And that's what I want to do. Now, obviously, you don't want to process this entire 4K frame. So I'm going to also put a crop node because there's no point of me processing anything that I do not need. My comp at the moment is still set to Leonard slow motion, so don't forget that when you're making all these rotos and all these shapes. So that is one thing you need to keep in mind. So all my rotos and my shapes are going to be wrong. So I only want to process this area here. Now, obviously, as you can see here, we do have snow in this as well. Now, unfortunately, because we have snow on these ones, the only way, because if I now look at this, you can see now we've removed all the snow from the plate, but we do have snow on the reflection. So that's one problem we have. So obviously in here, we would have to either try to see if we can get away. Like this is what I was saying in the beginning, that there's no perfect solution, because there isn't. Like that's just the fact of life. What I would try to do, maybe perhaps, is to try to do a temporal medium before this. I might just select this one maybe after the crop and see if I can get rid of some of it, and just see if all of it is gone. It looks to me like we've made all of them almost disappear. We still have the reflections, but we have some drops of snow still, which is going to become a problem. So I need to but it's less. Obviously our reflections are a bit affected by the temporal medium, but I mean, it's better than nothing. Yeah, you see, it is a little bit of affected there, but at least the snow is gone. But I think at this stage, any other leftovers would have to be painted. It would take some time, but hey, put some good music and we're off in a good start here. So you just go through, and just try to get the bigger offenders, you know. I'm not going to spend the whole day here painting, because this would take probably an hour to paint. But this would be how I would fix this shot, at least. So we started with a bunch of snow. We removed some of the snow. We then removed a little bit more of the snow. We used the time echo to remove every part of the snow, but it becomes really slow, the shot. It also introduced a little bit of blurriness into the shot, so you need to be careful with that. I've then sharpened it a little bit just to compensate for the blurriness, and then I've comped in the reflections by using a temporal medium to get rid of some of them, rotoscoping them, rotopainting some dots that were still left over, pre-multiplying, and then, of course, merging it on top. So now, if I play this back, I should have perfect version with no snow and still the reflections. Don't forget that the time blur and the time echo needs a couple of frames to go through, so if you don't have enough frames before, it's going to become a problem. Obviously, now it looks like a photo, but that's the point, I guess. As you can see, the snow is now gone, and we still have all the correct reflections going through here. Obviously, we still have a couple of spots of snow coming through, but it worked out really well. So again, the technique we did with Leonard slow motion worked for this shot. Now let's move on to another shot. Obviously, this shot also has one problem. It's incredibly blurry. And incredibly compressed, especially if you look at this. It's so compressed with H.264, but it doesn't matter. So as you can see, we have a lot of movement. We have the cameras moving, so there's like a bit of a handheld move into the scene. We also have a person walking as well. There's some cars passing through on the back there, and there's also a person walking just here. No, I'm actually not walking. Oh, they actually cleaning up the snow. So this is also going to be a problem. So this shot is a lot more challenging, and it will take a lot longer. But does it work with that? Does it blend? Does it work with that technique? Well, let's find out. So first off, we have all the snow going. If we look at this light, we can kind of see what's going on there. So I'm going to start by putting a temporal medium to see if it works. And as you can see, the temporal medium kind of got rid of some of it. As you can see, it got rid of maybe half of the snow, which is already kind of a starting point. It obviously, I can't really put a time echo. Why can't I put a time echo, you're probably asking? Well, if I put a time echo, and if I put average here and I put 10 frames, you're basically just gonna get a ghost, so because the camera is moving, right? So if I do this, yes, of course we got rid of the snow, but we also have this kind of 90s effect from a music video, you know, almost like a Madonna music video going on. So it's not really gonna work out. So, but it's okay. It's okay. We can still try to fix it. We can still try to get this to work. So one thing we could do is we could try to stabilize the scene. Obviously, it's going to be a bit tricky. Don't forget that this shot is highly compressed. It's not like I'm so used to real production shots that I forget how bad some shots are from the internet. So look at that. That's a lot of detail, huh? That's a lot of detail. But anyway, don't despair. It's always possible to use any shot. I'm going to put up a tracker, and I'm gonna see. I think I want to basically stabilize the shot as much as I can. So I'm gonna get a bunch of trackers. So I'm gonna use this thing here, the electrics thing here, as a pattern. So this will be my pattern. So I'm gonna pick up inside this pattern here, open it up a little bit and see what happens. So I'm gonna put my traffic lights on and I'm gonna press start to tracking, and it looks to me like it's tracking quite well. Obviously the snow, when it passes through the tracker, it makes it shake a bit, so we might have some issues there. But you know, obviously I'm just doing a video tutorial. You would probably spend more time making the track perfect. Even if you could, you probably could even do a manual track. That probably would be a good way to do it. But let's pretend that this is perfect. Let's just pretend. I don't think it's too bad either. Like, I have pretty much green around the corner here. There's like a dot of red there, which we could probably try to see if we can fix. But yeah, as you can see here, there is one dot. For some reason, there's like a point there on the track that it just went berserk with red. So what we could do is we could try to, yeah, because you see that snowflake there? It just disturbed the track too much. So what we could do is we can kind of see that this point here, if we go to that point there, we could probably just move it aside a bit so that it stays where it should be. I think we should be fine. Everything else is green, so I'm happy with this. Taking into account that this is a shot from the internet, I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to pick up another point, maybe this thing here that could probably do the trick. See if I can get it, although I think the screen goes off screen, but see if we can use this as a pattern. I'm gonna give it a go. Wait a minute, I need to go to the first frame, so I'm gonna see if this would work. It's a bit red and yellow. It's not as good. Let's see until the end if it averages it out a little bit better. Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay. It shakes a little bit, but it's gonna be okay. We're not doing a perfect thing anyway, so it's fine. It's fine. It's so compressed. Jesus, it is so compressed. Uh-oh, we're losing the pattern. Okay, we lost the pattern. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. Oh, not that one. This one. So we lost the... So tracker number 2, I did forget to track from the beginning, so I should probably track backwards a little bit, and I'm going to do that. So if I track backwards, just to have the first few frames that are missing, and then at some point it just goes berserk. It goes berserk around here, and that's because the corner of the image is losing the momentum. So I'm going to have to narrow down the tracker just so that it doesn't pick up the limits of the image. And I'm also going to make the search a bit smaller as well. See if that helps. It's also still went there. So I need to make it even narrower. I might have to pick up another part of the image, but maybe we might be okay. Yeah, I think we're okay. And actually, as we now go down, because we're going down, I might just open this up again a little bit more. Okay, cool. So now we have 2 tracks. I think that should be enough, but I might want to pick up something on the lower area, on the same, like this is on the same, depth, and that's probably going to be good if I get something other than that. And this car also looks like it's relatively on the same depth. You can see these lines look like they're on the same depth to this pillar and then the car as well. So I'm gonna get another tracker and I'm gonna see if I can track this car. It's going to be a bit more tricky, but I'm going to use these reflections as a pattern with the headlamp there. see if that works, and see if I can get a good track, and a good enough track at least, of that car. It looks like it's holding. Looks like there was a frame there that it broke, and most likely from a piece of snow that passed through the tracker. Might need to make it smaller there, but there's some yellow there. This is not working as good, so I'm gonna go back into the moment where it went completely nuts, just in the beginning there. Yeah, some snow passing through right in front. You see here, snow goes right in front of the tracker, so I might need to just do it by hand there, because it was supposed to not be that much. So I think overall it's going to be fine. I'm going to make a bit smaller and see if I can get a better track from here. See if I can get a better version. Yeah, it looks like I'm getting a more stable track with a smaller version. There you go. We're still going. Thank God for 8-bit images. With no depth of field or dynamics. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to use this. I'm going to use transforms, and I'm going to use rotations, not scale, to say that I want to stabilize the image completely. Okay, so now what we should get from this tracker is a completely static image with no movement. At least that's what it should get. As you can see now, we can see the boundaries of the image and the black edges, because we are, of course, going side by side, and everything is kind of like breaking. But it's looks like it's working so far. Yeah, it is. It looks like it's pretty stable. It's going to also be very helpful for us to roto him by having a stable plate as well. And yeah, I think it is stable now. Let's just double check until the end. No matter how fast the machine I have such a fast machine now, and it's still so slow playback. Come on. Come on. While I'm waiting for the caching, I just keep doing my van dance. It's pretty stable. Okay, so now that this is really stable, I can now do the time echo, because the time echo will now actually work. So how much are we going to do? Let's see here. So we want to get rid of some of the snow, right? So the snow was there. We can kind of see the snow in here. Temporal medium got rid of some of it. And now here, let's try 10 frames and see if the 10 frames would be enough. Yeah, we still see some snow. We still see kind of the pouring of the rain. I'm going to put 20 frames. And I think now we almost there. So I'm going to get with 30, and I think it's going to be 40. Yeah, there you go. Now, obviously, we have a problem, this dude here. So we're going to have to roto him and put him back into the scene. That's going to become a problem, because he's going to become a ghost. I'm going to go back to 20, which was what I thought it was good. It doesn't really matter, because what I could do is I could use the end of the shot to use this area there. So I'm going to actually... Now, one problem with the time echo is this. You see, the beginning still has some snow. The problem with that is because, obviously, I needed 20 frames before for it to pick up. Because we are doing a tutorial, I'm only going to use a section of this. Let's say that we use a section between frame 300 and between frame 400. We're only going to do 400 frames, okay? There's no point of me going through and doing all of it. So this is what we have so far. Now let's get rid of this dude here. So let's do that real quick. Now the time offset, the frame hold is going to have to be from a frame after the time echo, because we want, literally we want the last frame to do that. So we want frame hold at 742, and that will be the frame hold which has him. Oh, I just realized that now, that there's some lights on the back there moving. So that's the red light. It doesn't matter, we only need this area here anyway. So I'm going to get a frame hold here, and that's going to be our clean plate. Now, I'm going to look at the actual shot. I'm going to remove the time echo in the medium filter, and I'm going to get a roto node here. I know this video is, it's going really like beyond what we were supposed to do. But it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. That's how I like it anyway, so it doesn't matter. So let's just get this here. So this is going to be the dude. Backdrop. Dude. So it's going to be the dude fix. I'm actually going to call it dude fix. This video is becoming quite large now, I see. Let's see here. So the dude fix will be here. Sorry, the background, the dude background fix, not the dude fix. What am I doing? Dude fix to background. Dude. So let's don't forget, if you do ever pick up this script, if you're a Patreon for $20 or more, you actually have access to these scripts. So don't forget to go to Patreon and you can sign up to the $20 tier and then you can get the script from this video. But if you do get the script from this video, don't forget that my resolution at the moment is still set to the linear slow motion shot, which means every time I do a roto, every time I do a transform here, there are going to be wrong rotos and wrong transforms. So you have to be careful to make sure that you attach them to the streams so that they pick up the resolution from the incoming image and not the resolution incorrectly. So don't forget that. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm going to basically see the path that we're doing. So we start the path there and we finish the path here. That's it. So now that the guy is gone, but I'm gonna switch on time and time echo. The only problem we do have now is we need to put him back, right? We have some cars passing through on the back, which I think they look fun. Well, it's just a streak. I need to put that car back. Doesn't really matter. And we also need to put this person back because this person is now just a ghost, you know? It would be the same technique. So now let's put him back into the scene. So I'm going to just over so slightly here, copy paste this because I love to copy paste stuff. I'm gonna reverse this over here. So this is gonna be the dude fix. Not the background, but the dude fix. No frame hold, of course, because we're going to need him for the entire duration. We're going to need him from after the temporal medium, because I think the temporal medium wasn't affecting him that much, but the time echo was. So I'm going to pick him up from the temporal medium. The crop also is going to be, well, the crop is actually going to be the same, yes. What we could do is we could do a key and put him back, because he's so dark, you know, maybe we don't need... just like thinking out of my head here now, if I put a keyer, I might be able to key him. Oh, what am I doing? I might still put the roto, because I only need this area here. And now I'm going to see if I can get a key out of him. I doubt it, but I'm still going to give it a go, you know. Let's see here. So the keyer, I'll lose some of the shadow, though. It's probably going to be enough, though. Might be enough to have him. Not sure. Not sure.
Well, I'm not sure if...
You have entered the name, not sure.
Not sure. Not sure. Let's just have a look here. If I pre-molt him and put him on top, how does that look? Oh, yeah, sorry. To invert the... Let's see here. So, well, yeah, he's a bit transparent, though. Shadow is a bit lost. The keyer, I don't need the roto after all, so I need the keyer, though. I just need to try to see if I can recover some of him a bit more. Let's see here. If I put him here... Yes, I'm picking up some transparency here, which is not good. Want some thickness on him. And the shadow. Yeah, I'm losing too much of the shadow. I want to keep some of the shadow. Okay, so that sounds good. It kind of looks similar. Now, we need to be careful because we still see some snow coming through him. He does have some snow in front of him, so that's going to be a problem. The only real way of doing this would be for us to paint the snow out. So we would have to paint the snow out on him. But this would work. Now, but where's the camera move, do you say, Hugo? Well, the camera move still needs to be placed in. So I'm going to actually pick up the tracker, copy paste it, and paste it on the bottom here. And now the tracker is... Oh, I just realized that now, that the tracker was not picking up the rotations on all of them. Sorry about that. Go to settings, and I'm going to go into transform, and I'm going to say match move. Now, when I do a match move, the scene, the scene is going to go back to the original, and I'm going to put a crop node here. Now, you might want to consider getting a bit of sharpness. I'm going to use the same exact technique to do the sharpen right after the tracker, just to sharpen the image a little bit. And that's it. So now, let's play it back and see how it looks. It's going to be slow. I can warn you that. And it is, you can see. But you see, we still would have to fix the person here, and we would have to fix the cars passing through. But don't forget, it would be the exact same technique. We would have to roto the car going in, we would have to roto the person here, and do the exact same technique to this person to do the same. I'm not going to repeat myself because you've already seen how it works, so there's no point. But now, as you can see, the snow is gone, the guy is walking. He also needs a bit of paint because we can see some snow in front of him, but now the camera is moving and the snow is now gone. So it works really well. So I'm gonna put it side by side so we can see the difference between them. So as you can see, on the left side, we have no snow and the guy walking. On the right side, we have a bunch of snow going through the scene. So it works quite well if you don't look too much at it, okay? You kind of have to squint and like, So for commercial, it would be fine. If you were working in film, this would not be fine, okay? I just want to make sure everyone understands that, because if I start zooming in, it's not a pretty sight. So if I do 200% here, I mean, it's fine, but you can see that we still see some snow on him. We would have to paint. His shadow is a bit broken, as you see. It would have to be a little bit better. Also, the car back there is completely broken. We would have to rotoscope the car going in. And this person here is now a ghost. So all those things will still have to be done. But as you can see, the technique that I've deployed on Leonard slow motion kind of works. It kind of works, which is cool. Now I have other shots here. I would assume there would be the same thing for this shot here. So if I show you this shot would be exactly the same process. We would have to rotoscope the car, we'd have to rotoscope the person, and then use our temporal medium mix with the time echo would do the trick. Now other shots here that would work, this one would be the easiest one because this one here doesn't have anyone. So this shot is just snow. There's nothing else going on here. So because there's no one moving, there's no wind, there's nothing, literally the only thing we would need to do on this shot would be to try to put a temporal medium. The temporal medium will already get rid of half of the snow, as you can see. Half of it is already gone, but it still is there. And then it would have to be quite aggressive with the time echo. So if you do time echo, I think you would probably have to do at least 50 frames for it to even work. So let's see if it works. It's gonna take some time. It's 50 frames, you know. We still see some of the snow, but it's better than nothing. At this stage, it becomes a still, of course. So you're probably wondering, like, why the hell would you even do that? Well, you would do this if you, for example, imagine that someone gave you this plate to use on the background or gave you this plate to use on the matte painting. The cool thing about the time echo is that the time echo, I'm going to put a little bit less. Time echo would allow you to use this as a matte painting with no snow. So see, because effectively when you look at the original and you look at the new result, you see there's no snow anymore. Now obviously we have other shots that would not be possible. So I'm going to show you two shots really quickly which are absolutely impossible. So this shot here has way too much snow and it's just not going to happen. And also we have a camera move. Obviously the camera move, we could fix it by tracking it and stabilizing it, but even that would be a lot trickier because we have cars passing through. We also have reflections on this Ferrari, and also we have shadows of snow going through. Yeah, so as you can see, it kind of works. Of course, you would have to stabilize it, but the problem would be it would always get these streaks, so it would always look like rain. I mean, it helps a bit. Some of the snow is gone, but it's never going to work perfectly. That's the issue here. And the same goes for this one here. So as you can see on this one, it's raining quite a lot, and you can probably get away with fixing all of this on the back, but the train is going to be a massive problem, and also the leaves on the front are going to be a massive problem. So this shot will not work. I mean, I tried it. So I tried to use a temporal medium, and the temporal medium already got rid of some of it, as you can see. Some of the rain is gone, but then the time echo got rid of everything else, but now the problem with the time echo is the train. And as long as, I mean, I did fix the problem with the front there, so I don't have any problems there anymore. The rain, like, obviously the first frames, you need to wait at least for 30 frames to go and get rid of all the rain. The rain is now gone, but now the train is a ghost. And the problem with the train is you actually have rain on front. So the only way you would be able to do this one would actually be to paint each raindrop. The technique works on certain shots. It doesn't work on other shots. And it still depends on a lot of roto, and it still depends on a lot of roto painting and rotoscoping. So yeah, I mean, And that is it for today. As always, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget that now we have actually a membership option in YouTube. If you become a member, you have all sorts of perks. You can have like special emotes, you actually have a little badge next to your name, and also you have access, if you go for that membership level, you can have access to the Twitch replays for all the workshops I did on Twitch. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting my channel. I'll see you on the next video.